doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up? How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up? How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up? How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Brothers Breaking Bread podcast in the house. Hey!
We'll have a little pop-up. Have everybody over. It'll be good.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Let's not just talk about it.
This is a beautiful thing, man. Just all this blackness, and we all just getting together. We playing dominoes, we eating, we drinking.
And, you know, food is always just the extra, man.
They deprive these people of their basic human rights. You know, and we call ourselves Americans. We're supposed to be above all this.
They'll fake the crisis. They'll make it seem way out of proportion.
We brothers, we breaking bread.
How y'all doing? We out here, chilling in the spot. What up?
Trying to hold it all together, man. Life is moving fast right now, man. So it's good to have everybody come through.
I love that, man. I love it a lot. More than I could say to you guys.
I do stand before you, as was noted here, really having achieved greatness. I mean, I'm not just an overrated general. I am the greatest, the world's most overrated. And this is in no small part. I will tell you, I owe New York. I owe New York for this, because Senator Schumer, have I thank you for bringing my name up in a rather contentious meeting in Washington where this grew out of. So I would just tell you, too, that I'm honored to be considered that by Donald Trump, because he also called Meryl Streep an overrated actress. So I guess I'm the Meryl Streep of generals. And frankly, that sounds pretty good to me. And you do have to admit that between me and Meryl, at least we've had some victories. And some of you were kind during the reception and asked me, you know, if this bothered me to have been rated this way based on what Donald Trump said. I said, of course not. I'd earned my spurs on the battlefield, Martin, as you pointed out, and Donald Trump earned his spurs in a letter from a doctor. So, not in the least bit put out by it. And I think the only person in the military that Mr. Trump doesn't think is overrated is who you pointed out, Martin, and that's Colonel Sanders. But none of this can diminish the honor that I feel tonight of being here among all of you wonderful folks in this great all-American city. I started working in Washington, D.C., that I realized how easy I had it overseas in a combat zone.
Hey, what's going on, Brothers Breaking Bread podcast? And sisters and ladies breaking bread with us this evening. Should be another full episode. We'll have the other half of the Brothers of Doom joining us. Big Brother Mighty, Big James. But right now we got 10 meters, Joe Jeff, Lady Lavender, and a guest, Miss Delaney. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How you doing? Now, you know what? I feel so bad because I didn't even ask in the pregame. You want to go by your government? You want a nickname? Little D, Big D?
No, I just go by Delaney.
Okay.
That's
all right. Well, yeah, man. The General Mattis with some hot bars starting to show off. That's pretty funny. Nothing better than old white man being petty with other old white man. You gotta love it. Yes, indeed. So, you know, how we start the show, usually we go check around the horn, see how everybody's weekend, and then we'll, you know, of course, we'll do ladies first, guests first. So, Miss Lane, how you doing? How you been? Welcome. Tell the world, introduce yourself to the world.
Well, thank you. I'm doing well. So, yeah, my name's Delaney. I probably seem very random as to why I'm on this podcast, but I worked with Jefferson last year, so I work for a nonprofit called City Year. So I worked in his classroom with him all last year at Central. And now I am in Boston, still serving with City Year for a second year, but in a very different position. So I work on a team called Care Force, where we travel across the country to do service projects with our corporate sponsors. So I'm just kind of been traveling a lot lately, and now that's starting to slow down. So we're back in Boston, just in the office. So everything's good.
Sorry to hear about that. Working with Jefferson stuff. He survived. We're here with him on the weekly. We understand the pain. Thank you for sticking with it. Lady Lavender, how you doing?
Pretty good. Doing all right. Delaney, I work for an organization that is KCTR, which is upstairs or downstairs in the city, or I can't remember which one, in that building down in the River Market. So small world. Because you're not here,
awesome.
it's okay. Doing pretty well myself. Another busy week of just meetings all day, every day, and ready for the weekend.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining us. 10 meters. What's going on, man? You on the
nothing much.
On the road?
Trap. Yeah, I was on the road today. I'm in New Orleans. Chilling in New Orleans. I guess getting ready for a wedding for my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, and just chilling. Nothing's going on. Work is still the same. People in Austin still the same. Nothing really new over on this way. This part of the United States.
Okay. I'll hear you, pimp. Joe.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
What's happening, Cap?
Chilling, man.
Yeah, man. Got another buddy on the podcast this week.
You.
So that's 2 weeks in a row.
I hear recruiting.
Yeah. So like Delaney said, she worked with me all last year. She shares an experience with most of us on the podcast, and she's a Mizzou alum.
M-I-Z?
Yeah.
You gotta say it with your chest, though.
I know, you got to.
I don't have a lot of energy.
Come on.
No energy.
What's going on?
All right. So she's Mizzou alum. She worked with me all last year, and I think we got along real well, so we kept in touch. And I thought it would be awesome to have her perspective speaking with the brothers.
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm. So, gentlemen, on your best behavior today?
Delaney, one question for you. Have you listened to any of our podcasts?
I have. I've listened to a couple of them that Jefferson has sent me. I listened to the duck boat one. That's his favorite.
That's probably the best one to listen to gauge what we're going to be talking about.
And then I think it was the most recent one. Wasn't that the one you sent me, Jefferson?
Maybe not the most recent one, but I think it was right before that. It was the one about Amber Geiger relating to today's topic. It's kind of a precursor.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, she's well versed.
In the trickery. Okay. Well, for me, nothing going on here. We I think we rid the home of the coons.
Maybe.
I think all them niggas is upstairs trapped and dying. One of the two, but either way it go, we have heard no pitter patter of little coon feet upstairs in our attic. I don't know if that makes me a racist because I'm killing coons.
It does. Killing coons.
Killing coons. I don't know, but yeah, it's been good, man. Work. A couple long days of work. Went and watched the Twins ball the fuck up against the rival Lee Summit right up the street. They would have had 3 touchdowns between them, but one got called back. So good day. And Uncle Damon came out. Appreciate it. He's still out there striking. In case we forget at the end of the show, still out there striking. But if you've been listening to the news, GM is very close to coming to an agreement with UAW. It just has to be voted in by the union. So, fingers crossed for them.
So was that varsity or JV?
That's freshmen. I mean, they do play. They play sophomore and JV, and they suit up, varsity. But they're freshmen. That's what they get. They play both ways and get a lot of the playing time. Sophomore, JV, they get some reps here and there. But for freshmen, that's not bad.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
All right, moving on. Hey, anybody else? Anybody else check in? Everybody good? All right, we're moving on. And then y'all keep a watch out because I got my screen up, and sometimes I can't see if like James tries to call in. So let me know if he does. Where we at? Oh yeah, so moving right along with the fuckery of the government. As you know, we basically said, "Hey, Kurds, thanks for everything, but fuck y'all, we leaving. Good luck."
Well, you know they didn't help us during World War II, man.
I mean,
No.
nor that
No, they didn't.
at the Alamo, they left us fucking hanging.
They left us
Yeah,
Battle
they
of
did.
the,
They left us hanging
at the Battle of the Bulls. Where was them niggas at?
Ticonderoga.
Yeah.
Ticonderoga, I don't think they were there either, man.
I don't think they were there. Were they in Vietnam? They could have helped us out with
Did
Vietnam.
they shed any tears when we dropped bombs on Nagasaki? Was they there crying? No.
No, I don't think they were.
No.
I don't think they were.
They need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, nigga. Anyway, I hate to laugh. We should laugh. It's a lot of pain and suffering going on there. But but we talked about this before on previous episodes of the show, and when we had a different show with the same people, how just sometimes the small-mindedness of the U.S. and how blind we are to how our policies affect the world. So basically, where we pull our troops out of this area and leave these people who we train to fight for themselves, we just leave them basically suspect to the enemy next door.
Yes. Defenseless.
Yeah. So all that tied into why would we do such a thing? People speculate, Trump and his, I believe, he has a hotel. Is it a hotel in Turkey?
I think he's trying to get one if he doesn't have one.
I can't remember exactly, but of course there's always this hotel, just like the G7. That's another topic. But through all that fuckery and bullshit, we've been sold a bill of goods that it was never quid pro quo, it was never this, it was never that, it was always straight up. People, it was on their own. Let's hear what the White House Chiefs of Staff has to say of this. About a 2-minute clip.
Mick Mulvaney, let's get it.
He wouldn't, if we didn't pay out the money, it would be illegal. Okay, it would be unlawful. That is one of those things that has that little shred of truth in it that makes it look a lot worse than it really is. We were concerned about over at OMB about an impoundment. And I know I just put half of you folks to bed, but there's the Budget Control Act, Budget Control Impoundment Act of 1974 says if Congress appropriates money, you have to spend it. Okay, at least that's how it's interpreted by some folks. And we knew that money either had to go out the door by the end of September, or we had to have a really, really good reason not to do it. And that was the legality of the issue.
But to be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happen as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy. We were holding up money at the same time for the Northern Triangle countries. We were holding up aid at the Northern Triangle countries so that they would change their policies on immigration. By the way, and this speaks to an important. I'm sorry. This speaks to an important point, because I heard this yesterday, and I can never remember the gentleman who testified. Was McKinney, the guy? Is that his name? I don't know him. He testified yesterday. Yeah. And if you believe the news reports, okay, because we've not seen any transcripts of this. The only transcript I've seen was Sondland's testimony this morning. If you read the news reports and you believe them, what did McKinney say yesterday? Well, McKinney said yesterday that he was really upset with the political influence in foreign policy. That was one of the reasons he was so upset about this. And I have news for everybody. Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy. I'm talking to Mr. Carl. That is going to happen. Elections have consequences, and foreign policy is going to change from the Obama administration to the Trump administration. And what you're seeing now, I believe, is a group of mostly career bureaucrats who are saying, you know what, I don't like President Trump's politics, so I'm going to participate in this witch hunt that they're undertaking on the Hill. Elections do have consequences, and they should, and your foreign policy is going to change. Obama did it in one way, we're doing it a different way, and there's no problem with that.
Oh, man. Always with... You know what? I would just like one time for him and his administration to just talk about what they're doing without having to bring up Obama, Hillary, email servers, aliens, illegal, or either or legal or documented. But anyway.
Well, we lucky they stopped bringing up Benghazi.
I mean, the attention span.
Why don't they start taking responsibility for their actions?
Because
he did. He just did.
He said
we do it all. He said we do it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
isn't that quid pro quo? He said, yeah, we do it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta. But here's the thing, though. They don't. Yeah, like Joe's pointing out that they don't believe that they're wrong.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
And then, I mean, in this election, we get elections have policies, but then we're playing this cat and mouse game with like people's lives over here. You talk about the Kurds and Turkey and things like that. People being forced out of their homes because of bombings and shit like that, while the U.S. military just sits and watches. And sadly watches a piece of land that we fought for and lost Americans' lives for to control.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Y'all ain't got quiet on me.
So.
Anyway.
But, yeah.
All I know is about quid pro quo.
This for that.
The turkey shit is bad. It's ugly. Mm-hmm. It's a waste of human lives. That's really bad. But it's not the first time it's happened in this administration. If we let it go on, it's not going to be the last time.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not.
What's impeachable is the Ukraine situation.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't know. That's and Mulvaney is over here spilling the beans on Ukraine, telling them yes, we withheld funds that had to be spent because they were appropriated by Congress. We missed the deadline.
Right.
Why? Because we had a political reason. Because elections have consequences. We decided not to do it.
Mm.
So I mean, I say let's go ahead and assemble the team. Let's vote on it. Let's get the trial
pretty
started.
much.
Yeah. I mean, we already talked about it in depth as far as, well, not in depth, but pretty much covered the rules and what needs to happen. And hopefully it happens. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that pressure's applied, and hopefully that the vote, I mean, yeah, it just needs to happen. And now you got all these Republican senators flip-flopping.
Yes, it does.
Flip-flopping and trying to cover their tracks. And 1 minute you got, what's that, Lindsey Graham, all this bullshit that's been going on with people saying fuck the subpoena, when he's on record as saying that anybody that avoids or ignores the subpoena needs to be arrested.
How are they ignoring subpoenas, man?
You can't. Yeah.
I mean, we talked about a black man,
the president,
who got 10 days. I mean, true, somebody later they came back and said our bad, but his initially. He was found guilty for being late for jury duty and got 10 days in jail.
10 of them.
These niggas are saying fuck subpoenas at the highest level of government.
We are not going to honor your subpoena.
But hold on. So like,
go ahead, Joe.
If the president does it, maybe he can claim immunity. Maybe. But what I'm saying is, how's Rudy Giuliani doing it?
I don't know how Wooden Teeth is doing it. I have no idea.
Rudy Giuliani is a private citizen.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm not gonna obey your subpoena. Why have they not drug his ass out by his wooden teeth?
They would fall out and they wouldn't be able to get him though if they tried to drag him by the teeth.
That lower five teeth are despicable, nigga. How you got that much money and your teeth look like that, nigga?
I don't know. They need to drag that motherfucker into court, man. Or into Congress. And he need to testify.
He on TV, on Twitter, talking cash shit, just like fuck y'all. I might read the subpoena, but we ain't coming.
He got them mahogany teeth.
Mother of pearl, nigga.
Probably what that is.
He need to get them something about Mary caps and just call it. Like my man Matt Damon had them motherfuckers out. But
he gonna get somebody a hysterectomy.
I'm sorry. Move on.
I know his breath smell like 5 days of titty sweat. I just know it. I just know it's ball sack sweat. Anyway, but no, stay back
Delaney,
on point.
how you doing over there, Delaney?
Is she awake?
Just, I'm good.
She done muted her shit. She's like, I don't want no part of this shit. But yeah, man, I don't get it, dog. Like you said, as like a fucking public citizen, no longer a member of government. All he is at this point in time is he, by proxy, is one of Trump's lawyers, or used to be one of his lawyers, because at one point in time, Trump was like, I don't know that nigga. They're like, but he was on the news just talking about you last week. Okay, I do know that nigga. He might be my lawyer. I don't know. I mean, Trump, no, you laughing, but he literally said that on TV. He was like, I don't know if he's still my lawyer. How do you not know this, nigga? What are you doing?
Hey, I think Trump is in the beginning stages of Alzheimer's.
No, he's not. He is not.
There's a lot of stuff he be forgetting about. Like, he don't know about Rudy Giuliani, the people he fired,
he knows.
Hired.
He knows.
Don't forget.
He's just a rich dumbass that's never been held accountable to anything publicly. That's it.
Right, true.
He's not. Man, and people try to get away with that shit. Well, maybe it's just mental health, and maybe it's just ain't nothing wrong with that nigga besides he's old, rich, and dumb.
If it is his mental health, they need to go ahead and use the 25th Amendment.
The 25th, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
The 25th. We ain't never used the 25th Amendment yet, so they need to go ahead and use that to basically say, hey, he's not a sound mind to run the government. We need to go ahead and just sit him down.
You need to use the 36th chamber, nigga. There is no 36th chamber.
It could be dangerous. Wow. Do you think your Wu-Tang Sword can defeat me?
I like to try it. Anyway, my bad.
The rabbit hole, guys.
No, it's not a rabbit hole, but it's like it's nothing wrong with him. This motherfucker is just corrupt. He's been corrupt all of his fucking professional life and all his business dealings. He does it. I mean, you look at all that shit. He files for bankruptcy because it's a thing of, I got more money than you. I got enough time and enough money. We talked about on the last show. I got enough time, enough money to waste you out, to wear you out, to where you just don't give a fuck anymore, and you stop suing me for your pay. But now he's running to an entity that makes the money. The U.S. government, they're like, we got time and money, nigga. You need to come to court. And that's what we're at.
I mean, but he's like ignoring subpoenas, which I don't think anybody even in government is, immune to subpoenas. I don't know.
Well, his ass is because the Democrats be acting scary sometimes.
Well, they need to shit or get off the pot for real.
Yeah. Good luck with all that. But anyway, yeah, man. Once again, this is your weekly announcement to make sure you get your ass out there and vote. I don't give a fuck if it's a bag of rice running for that got the DNC nod. You vote for that bag of rice.
Ladies, anything to chime in? Ladies, anybody?
Not on this, no.
Nope.
I was just playing. She's playing some out there. She probably losing to me in dominoes again.
You said probably losing?
Yeah, you're gonna probably lose. You're gonna lose to Bob the Builder.
Bob?
Oh, shit.
Well played. Well played.
So that nigga Habitat for Humanity.
Okay. We're gonna. The deceased representative Elijah Cummings would not want to hear you talk to me like that, sir.
That right. Well, he's from a shithole, so you know.
Damn, that is true.
Yeah.
So
that's what.
So let's just touch on it briefly, since we are talking about government. And on the flip side of people who have done the right things and try to do the right things to lead this country in the right way, Maryland Representative Elijah Cummings, he passed away. Was it this morning? Was it yesterday? Yeah.
No. Was it yesterday? Because I thought it was Wednesday.
Well, I believe it was either
very
Wednesday
recently.
or Thursday.
Very recently.
There we go. It was Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, it was recently.
I wasn't there in the room with him, but it was very recently. There we go. And I'm not. I mean, I know who he was, and I'm not going. And I knew some of his story, and I mean, Maryland. No, he was, lack of a better terms, older black man who was on Donald Trump's ass constantly. That's why he got some of the heat that he got from Donald Trump. But yeah, man. Just somebody came from very, very, very humble beginnings. Sharecropper's son, rose to be a civil rights champion, and the chairman of one of the House committees that was leading the impeachment inquiry on President Donald Trump, or the Occupant as we call him. Matter of fact, before passing, I believe it's like 2 or 3 subpoenas that he signed.
James is calling.
Hold on.
James is calling.
I appreciate it. Let me chime him in. Hello, sir.
Yo, what's up?
What's up? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hear me?
Yeah, we
I hear you loud and clear there.
We are live podcasting, y'all. The other half.
Hey now.
The other half of the Brothers of Doom has joined up. They have formed the darkness cloud. We got Lady Lavender. Your brother brought his friend Delaney on the show. Yeah, I ain't messed it up yet. Good for me. You said who? What kind of old black response is that? At 10 meters and myself. So yeah, the usual Summon User Crew +1. Hey, all right. Hey, real quick, what's going on? How you doing, man? If I was to check in with you real quick.
Oh man, I mean, for the most part, everything's going all right. You still classes are almost done. I'm in the job hunting phase. There's some good opportunities coming my way.
Good luck.
Done a couple mock interviews that were actually real interviews. They just told us that they were mock interviews.
Nice.
And I got 2 or 3 more next week, so it's coming right along. Hopefully, I'll be employed in my new tech job within the next 3 weeks or so.
Okay. Nice.
Sounds good, man.
Well, just to bring you in.
So they told you it was a mock interview, and then it wasn't until afterwards they're like, "Oh wait, just kidding, that was real."
Well, they never. The people that interviewed us never said anything. Our counselor, our employment counselor, is the one that told us, like on the slide, like these aren't really mock interviews. Just letting you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prior to or afterwards?
Prior to.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So did you pee down your leg a little?
I mean, I did 4 interviews back to back. So the first one, I was extremely nervous, and then and they still they still like gave us tips on how to interview better, but they were also evaluating at the same time. First interview, I was extremely nervous. The second one was a little better. By the time I got to the fourth one, I was good. So they all went well, and I got some good responses. Been chatting up some of these recruiters on LinkedIn.
Nice.
I've had LinkedIn account for like 12 years. I just started using it.
Yeah.
For real in the last 6 months, and I'm like, damn, I should have been on this a long time ago.
Right.
Very nice. But just to bring you up to snuff, we
go ahead.
We covered. We played a video of Mattis at the beginning, dropping those hot bars on the Occupant.
Right. Yeah. That was a rather amusing little speech he gave.
Yeah, very, very cute, very cute. And then we played a video of Mulvaney talking about the quid pro quo that's going on.
He's a moron.
Yeah, he stepped all over.
But that's kind of par for the course with this administration, so I'm not really surprised.
Yeah.
Well, the whole administration is run by a temp agency.
It is. We talked about it.
It is like a temp agency.
You're right. Yeah, that's a good analogy right there.
Well, and see the thing, they don't really mind when they have a problem with somebody and they leave, they don't care, and they just bring in somebody acting and they just keep them there because
you don't have to go through confirmation. Yeah,
right.
You have to get them through confirmation in the Senate. Yeah.
Yep. We're just like you said, we just have a bunch of temps running everything, and then we wonder why it all was going to hell.
Yep. Right.
There it is. Roger disappeared.
I'm like that.
Yeah, he just walked up.
Just walked out, man.
Hold on.
We are recording.
He just got up.
Oh,
my bad. I had to refill my oil. So we talked about the temp agency.
Got it.
And then we were still leading in the government. So then we just like the last 5 minutes we're talking about the passing of Elijah Cummings.
Got it.
So anything you want to add?
Oh, about Elijah Cummings?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's sad, man, that we just keep losing all the guys that have been holding it down for all these decades. You know, our leaders.
True.
And you know, they're getting, they're getting old and they get sick and they pass just a circle of life. But you just kind of wonder who's going to take their spot, you know, going forward.
And you think about
the squad is out there. The squad is out there, but we're gonna need more.
Ayanna Presley gonna lead the charge.
The squad is putting in work, but you know, we'll see what happens long term.
But
hope they don't burn themselves out. They burn awfully hot right now.
Hey, but the real crazy thing for this day and age, he wasn't that old. 68.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's true. And for this time period, 68 is pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But
I'm just saying he's been one of those guys that's been around for a very long time.
Like Deion Cole said, I don't know if y'all watched this special. He said, "You 40, you got 30 summers left."
30 summers.
you got 30 summers left. So shit, live them, do what you want to do. But yeah, man, just very sad. Him and his family, and then just the nation losing just a good human who tried to do what's right by this nation that when he was brought into it thought him less than, and just try to do what's right, put us on the right path so that we all can be better. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. And Orange Julius managed to not say nothing foul about him when he died.
He know, dog. He know. He probably had that phone in his little bitty bitch ass hands, was typing. And Ivanka probably in there.
He wanted to.
Ivanka probably came in there and said, "Not tonight.
Be best.
No.
Be best. Exactly.
No, Donald. No, Donald. Not tonight. Not tonight.
Be best. Don't do that. Be best.
Yeah, dog. So
no, it was a very sad, unfortunate situation.
Yeah. But time for a horrible segue. Play a video by another black man who was trying to do the right thing.
I got 2 o'clock a.m. I got a call from my niece, and she alerted me that my neighbor's door was open. Both her front doors were open, which was unusual for the neighbor. So I came over to see if there was anything wrong. I noticed that all the lights were in the house were on.
Sorry. I don't know why I stopped.
So instead of going in, I went back home and I called the Fort Worth Police Department to come out and do a welfare check to make sure that my neighbor was okay. 15 minutes later, I heard a loud noise, and I saw 5 or 10 police officers surrounding the house. And I don't know what happened on the inside of the house. All I know is my neighbor is dead. They came out and got a statement from me because I was the one that called them. They took my statement. They told me that the detective would come talk to me and tell me what was going on. I've yet to see the detective.
I do not want to. So, Atatiana Jefferson, that was her name. The video we just heard was her neighbor, Mr. Smith. I can't find his first name, but his last name is Smith, a neighbor who had Saturday night, early in the morning, it could have been a Friday, I can't remember, Saturday, 2 a.m. Saturday, saw that his neighbor, and this is a community, I guess it was kind of tight, they all looked out for each other, but thought it was strange that lights were on her house, doors open, knew that she had a young boy who we would later find out was her 9-year-old nephew who was there at the home, calls a non-emergent number to come do a welfare check on his neighbor, right? Because I believe he said he didn't have the phone number. Instead, what shows up is police officers with guns drawn who never announced themselves until after shooting this woman in her home in front of her 9-year-old nephew. What the fuck?
Ladies, what you think about it? Ladies,
are they there?
I mean, I don't even know what to say to these anymore. Go ahead, Delaney.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the video, and I thought it was weird just because, like how you mentioned that he called it like the non-emergency number, and he just wanted them to check in.
Right.
And then in the video from his body cam, he like said something about telling them to put their hands up, but then he just shot like immediately after. It didn't seem like there was any pause to see if people were going to respond. Like they didn't get a chance. Like she didn't get a chance to like show that she wasn't holding the weapon.
Correct.
I haven't seen the body cam footage. Okay.
He shot. In one of the articles I read was talking about,
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. Just one of the articles had mentioned that between like now, since June 1st, there had been 7 civilians shot by Fort Worth cops.
Yep.
And 6 of which were fatal. So that just seems like a lot. Like it just seems like it's happening way too often everywhere, but especially within this area. Yeah, it's sad.
Very sad.
Right on the heels.
Yeah, he shot his weapon before the phrase finished coming out of his mouth.
Correct.
He's already shooting before his command even finished.
Yeah, and I don't know if the algorithm of Google and Twitter has kind of buried that video, but like earlier on when it first came out, they had some edited, doctor redacted some of his cam footage, but you can definitely see it's not like a hey, who's there? But here's the thing though, like at that point in time, do you go to the front door? Do you show up with your lights flashing? Do you say you just show up in a car with your flashlight flashing somebody's window?
They parked around the corner.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? And
that's some SWAT type shit.
Yeah, and like me and when we were talking about it in the chat group, I'm like, bro, there are times I got children in the house. I got Lady Lavender here. We have a firearm in the house. Motherfucker just out in my backyard with a flashlight and ain't never came to my door and said that I'm the police. What am I supposed to do? I mean, this is insane. How are police being trained this way?
You're supposed to fire your weapon.
Nigga, don't come. Whoever, don't come to my house without knocking on my door saying, hey, we the police. Your next door neighbor said this, whatever. Just don't be on my backyard with a flashlight.
Dog, that is protocol. You know, the police is supposed to, and you know probably better than I do, Stuart. Because of your background and everything.
Both my parents are cops, dog. You're supposed to announce who you are and what your intentions are and what you're there for. That's what's supposed to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, they even do that on the TV shows.
Exactly.
They won't even do that on the TV show.
Right.
It's saddening that here we are in this fucking area of Dallas again. Here's another black person shot by the fucking by these police.
Yeah, Dallas and Fort Worth.
You think he's gonna get a hug?
Wow, here we go again.
Yeah, wow. I hate that her daddy had to go on record saying I don't want no fucking hug. I hate that had to happen.
Yeah, okay. What were you gonna say?
No, it's just all too much. I can't even. I'm to the point now where I can't even. I don't want to watch the videos. I don't want to see the details. I don't expect him to go to prison, although I was surprised that they actually charged him with murder. But I still don't see
he's gotta go to prison.
Much happening.
He's got to. Well, they set the precedent last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, but how many years does he get, Joe?
I don't know.
How many years? He gonna get?
I think it's more. It's more not that I don't want him to, or I don't expect it to. It's I wouldn't be surprised if nothing happens. That's where we are with police shootings at this point. Where I won't be surprised if nothing comes of this.
I get that, but
she lawfully had a firearm in her own home.
Mm-hmm.
She followed all the rules.
He's got to go to jail on this. And they arrested him as soon as it happened.
In the state of Texas, home of everybody get a gun with your truck.
Exactly.
And but when it first came out, people were like, "Yeah, but she had a gun in her home, nigga. What you
in her home?
She was in her house. She was in her house, her own property.
What they say on that Jay-Z with that rapist album? I thought we was in America, people. He was like, nigga. It's like I don't get it.
Maybe he thought it was his house.
Probably. Oh shit! Come on, dog. I'm about to.
Damn.
I'm about to drive down. I'm about to come down 71 and find you. But it's sad because and I don't want this happening the other way, but we don't see this happening the other way consistently.
No, not at all.
I don't want it to happen no way. I want police to be. The thing is, you take on a fucking job that you know is a dangerous job. It don't mean you get to be reckless. It's like we talked about teachers last week. Teachers take on a job where they know they're going to be in a classroom with young people who may have a various range of emotional things going on, who may get angry, who may get upset, but they fucking accept that they can't just fucking body slam and punch a kid. They get out of line.
Right.
But the police just fucking willy-nilly with handguns just shooting niggas because they scared.
Yeah, well, and also teachers didn't have the Supreme Court basically say, if you say you feel for your life, you can murder without cause.
Exactly.
No one can prosecute you. It's a bigger issue. The police have been given carte blanche by this country to act the way they do.
I agree.
And it will not stop until there are changes in the laws, which hell, that ain't gonna happen no time soon.
No.
Delaney,
I agree with you.
Huh?
You were gonna say something?
I was just curious what you guys thought about the police chief's statement that he released, that video. Did you guys watch that one?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't at all.
Yeah.
I personally thought the Fort Worth police chief was full of shit, and he seemed more upset about this making his job harder as police chief than that woman losing her life. I didn't hear one thing in his statement that showed any regret or remorse about Tatiana being dead, and more about our police, we really trying in the community, and now our job is going to be so much harder now, and I can't talk anymore. And they left.
I don't think you're giving him a fair shot there. I do think he mentioned that he had remorse for the passing of Tatiana. I don't know if
2 seconds on that.
It was toward the end. No, it wasn't. It was towards
but
he did mention it.
But guys, it was towards the beginning.
But he mentioned it though. He mentioned it,
and it was at the beginning. He did dwell. Okay, guys. He dwelled on what the issue was. I'm saying to you also that what else do you want him to do? There's murders that take place all the time. He's upset about all of them. He arrested the culprit. He sent him over to the judicial system. What's he supposed to do after that?
He only did that shit because of the Amber Geiger shit just popped off.
No, he did that shit because the man had a video on himself.
I think he did it. Yeah. I really do think.
Dude, if the Amber Geiger thing hadn't just popped off, it would not have happened like that.
I feel you on the Amber Geiger situation, but I'm saying to you that there was also there's also the Alton Sterling situation. There's also the Philando Castile situation. Yeah. There's also the Eric Garner situation. There's also
no. That shit happened in his sister city the same week, basically.
No, it happened. It happened a year ago.
No, I'm talking about the verdict going down and all the controversy behind the game. Verdict, was fresh. It was completely fresh when
the verdict going down. That was like last week.
It's on people's minds.
Let me. Hey, can I chime in? And this goes to what we were talking about representation last week. And I cut you off and what Delaney was talking about too. Of the 9 officers involved in shooting so far this year in Fort Worth, 5 targeted African Americans, 6 resulted in death, according to department data. This is very important. Nearly 2/3 of departments, 1,100 officers are white. Just over 20% are Hispanic and about 10% are black. The city is 40% white, 35% Hispanic, 19% black. So we're talking about representation here. So Go ahead. That's all. Something in. Go ahead. Y'all go ahead and argue with each other.
So again, yes, he did dwell on how it's making the police, a hardship. Because what you have is one bad apple that is spoiling the bunch in theory, but also he's gonna have to wake up every day and deal with a disgrace. That's his job. He deals with the police force. They are a disgraced police force. They don't have the will of the people behind them. That's what his job is. He's already done his job when it comes to Ms. Jefferson. He has arrested the killer. He's identified and arrested and turned over the evidence. That's up to the prosecutor now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what you want him to say about her other than, hey, we're sorry. The courts are in place to deal with that situation.
And walk off. And be done.
But there were questions about what he was going to do about his police.
And he could have been like, you know what, we're not going to talk about that right now.
And he would have lost his job.
We're going to let it play out.
Stonewall.
Hold on.
James, you can't stonewall the people
hold on.
On whether or not your police force is able to deal with police in their city. You can't do that, man.
So better question. So, James, what would you want him to do or say?
Exactly.
I just show some remorse about the loss of life. Whatever.
James, he did.
It was a passing. He spent about 15 seconds on that, and then he spent the next 15 whining about how this makes his job harder.
But
that's the way I saw it.
It's his job.
That's the way I saw it. And if you want to defend him, and
I don't think anyone's defending him. I get it. I get the anger, and I get that. I don't know what more you want him to do. I guess I don't understand what you want him to do. He addressed the problem.
If he's the chief that's been around when these other this whole time when these other 7 or 8 people have been shot, I actually want his ass fired.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what we really need to be talking about is why he still has his job.
I think that's the best.
Here's my question. But why are we talking about that after a nationwide event happens? Why didn't we talk about that shit when we looked at the stats and see that the police force isn't representative of Fort Worth?
Right.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we do that before there's an opportunity to see this? But all I'm saying is, in the moment, what else could he say?
I don't know what else he could say, but I would.
Hey, if you satisfied with it, that's cool. I'm not, and that's it.
So what retribution do you want since you're not satisfied?
I said my piece.
You wanted to be fired.
I made it clear. I said what I expected. But you don't like my answer, so you keep asking me. But that's my answer.
Delaney, what do you think? You got your mic on. What you think?
I asked for everyone's opinion. He gave his. I think it's fair.
Mm-hmm. So what's your opinion?
I would say, he needed to say, but up a fair point that, with all the other ones that have happened since June 1st, has he just been saying the same thing for each of them? Or, what actions have they been taking? Have they changed their training? Just the fact that, it's been, the 7th or 8th instance ago.
You're starting
to fair point.
You're breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I think my connection is bad.
I don't know the right answer. I know that I get the anger. I don't know what the police chief's supposed to say, but I do need that he needs to be held responsible as far as, if these are your police officers, what is the training? What are we doing? Why are officers rolling up on people's houses on non-emergency calls with guns drawn, not announcing themselves? Also, not making sure that, hey, somebody might be dead in this house.
Right. There was a discussion in the press conference of training and best practices.
Right.
And so I watched it early in the week. I don't remember exactly what he said about it, but he said he was looking to have them be beyond best practices. They want to be, better than best. But with that being said, that begs the question: why haven't they been there yet? Or is this a untrained officer?
I mean,
why isn't he identified as such? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I saw something that said that this is like in some short amount of time his third police force that he's been with.
Yeah.
Which begs the question of like, is it because you're moving and you have to live or you have to work within the jurisdiction you are, or is he getting fired? Are people seeing him as not worthy of being in the police force somewhere and then he gets a job somewhere else? That goes along with the training aspect. So I just don't know. I don't know.
He seems very afraid and incompetent. I mean, I mean, it is different, man. The rules of war are different, man. But I've been in places, man, where I don't understand the military. I've been in war zones where you cannot shoot until you have been shot at, and you have to verify that they're shooting at you and not just shooting up in the air.
Geneva Convention.
This is a fucking war zone.
Yeah.
But here you are in Fort Worth, Texas, just rolling up like you motherfucking, like it's Tombstone, nigga, and you just shooting in the windows? I just, but like James brought up with the Supreme Court giving these people, this occupation too much leniency and too much authority to act as judge and jury, then you know this fallacy that we build that this is the most dangerous profession in America, and numbers show that it's not. Also, numbers will show that police shootings and killings have been on a decline for quite some time. But we act like it's the Wild Wild West, and these motherfuckers and rangers going out to rile up people at the OK Corral and bring them in for justice. So I mean that the whole culture needs to change. The whole militarization of the police force, the whole they get to act with impunity and do whatever they want to do. All that shit needs to change. Or we
the police union is the worst union in America. Across the board, because they help reinforce all this shit, and because the cop that just shot Atatiana, they bailed his ass out
just like that.
He wasn't even cop no more. He resigned. Why he bailed his ass out of jail?
Blue line, dog.
Well, I know, but it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. It is bullshit. Let me do some shit and kill a patient, and it come to find out that I have operated out of my scope of practice. Me and Lady Lavender will be coming to Joe's house like, hey, bro, can we squat on your couch for a minute till we get right?
As long as you leave them damn cones over there.
They following us.
Baby.
But yeah, I think we covered it all. I think everybody. I mean, outside of what the chief's supposed to say, we all see this as. My bad, I had echo. Yeah. Echo?
Damn, we have some micro problems.
Yeah, it's echoing all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
my bad. I was switching over headphones. Now, what we didn't cover is how dangerous it is to make a regular ass 911 call.
Oh yeah, I'm not ever calling the cops again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna deal with the criminal. Just take my chance.
No, we talked about it. It's like, so my neighbor's beating his wife. I don't want him to die, but I definitely don't want him to beat his wife. Who do I call?
They're called Ghostbusters.
Nigga.
Yeah. Definitely can't call 911.
Go ahead, Lady Lavender.
She was doing the theme song.
Oh.
Ghostbusters.
Y'all niggas ain't shit. But anyway, don't call Ray Rice. Don't call that nigga for sure.
No. Dang, you give her pointers. Hey, dog. After you beat her and put her down on the elevator, floor, you gotta drag her by her hair.
Yeah, but
make sure you drag her by her hair.
But that is very. I mean, that was extreme domestic violence. We've had people call. Not even call, where it's been incidents where people have gotten into wrecks. Who was a young man down in, was it Florida? He got into a wreck and the police came and ended up shooting this nigga. Chris thought he was drunk or high. This nigga, no, I got in a wreck and I got a fucking concussion.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess we gotta get our own.
This was killing me though, man. Why? I mean, is it lawful for the police to shoot unarmed people?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. If they feel like, as James said, though.
Well, she was armed.
All they have to say is that they fear for their lives, or they just and basically, if whatever situation they say they thought was going down, it's all that matters. If I thought that this is what was happening, if based on what I saw, and I acted upon that, according to the Supreme Court ruling, anything they do after that is fair game.
Yep.
There was two really big cases that I can't remember the names of the cases right now, but those are the two foundational cases that are often used in court to justify police misconduct.
Well, that didn't hold for Geiger. She got 10 years. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but she got convicted. She thought she was in her own apartment.
She was off duty. That does make a difference. And it's not, and nothing is hard and fast. But this is the majority of the time when these officers get off.
I don't know. I understand they have given a lot of leniency to police officers. I find it difficult to believe the Supreme Court is giving officers carte blanche to tell them what to do.
Hey, don't trust me. It's
we'll
right
find
there.
out. We're gonna find out. What was the name of the case?
I will look them up for you.
Okay. All right. Keeping it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving.
Well, that was that 2019-05. Well, that's different. Supreme Court made it easy for the police to arrest you for filming them.
I'll find it. You guys keep going. I'll find it and I'll bring it up in a minute.
For sure. And I forget what I was about to say. But yeah, that's crazy. Even like, I mean, we're all private citizens, but yeah, they even tell you that, like, if you shoot somebody, hey, just say it may not work out for you the same way, but that man threatened me. I felt for my life. Now y'all need to talk to my lawyer. Yeah, just say that. Say that and just lay on the ground. Don't do shit else. While James finds that, Joe, we're gonna move forward. You brought a interesting.
Just real quick, I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
Case that you should look up. The first one is Graham versus Connor, and the other is Tennessee versus Garner. Those are the two major cases that established that the police use of force can be used under circumstances of either they feared for their lives, or the situation as they assessed it says that they should have used excessive force, even if it is not warranted in the end, because they thought that was the situation. They acted upon what knowledge they had in front of them, even if they are lying about it. So Graham versus Connor and Tennessee versus Garner. Those are the two you need to look up.
Okay, I saw that. Yeah.
And there is a
Tennessee versus. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I'm not making this stuff up, brother. So okay.
Yeah,
I'm done. You can move on.
Yep. Okay, we're moving on. We'll look those up. All the kids out there, you have homework now. We will. Don't be like my twins and plagiarize your report. Shade.
Break bread with your brothers whenever possible.